Hi, I'm Shona. Welcome to my channel. Welcome to this class. I noticed that I was using blocks a lot in my videos, so I thought it would be good to do one video exclusively on blocks, showing you how to incorporate them in a variety of the different asanas. This is by no means the only ways to use blocks. There are hundreds of ways to use blocks. It's kind of never ending. Blocks are probably my favorite of the props, or at least one of my favorite of the props. So I hope the class today inspires you to incorporate blocks into your practice. Let me know if you have questions or comments or other asanas I didn't cover that you think, oh, I'd love to see how to use a block in that asana. I'd be happy to do more blocks classes. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoy the practice. Before we start the class today, just make sure that you have 2 blocks at the front of your mat. And then come to sit in a cross-legged position. Bring one of the blocks in front of you. It can be, we'll do it on different heights, but we'll start on the highest height. Bring the fingertips beside your hips. Press down into the fingertips to lengthen the spine. Roll the elbows back. Then stretch the arms forward. Hand palms facing each other, reach the arms up. So you have Urdhva Hastasana arms. And then keeping the sitting bones on the floor, reach forward. Start moving forward. And then when you've gone as far as you can go without lifting fully off the floor, bring the hands down. Maybe you can just walk the hands even slightly further forward. And then release your head down towards the block. You'll have to adjust where your block is probably. And let the forehead rest on the block. And here you can pay more attention to your breath. Inhale and exhale through the nose. Keep the arms extended, keep the hands pressing into the floor, and it's like you're pressing yourself backwards, like you're pressing your hips back. You might find that after a few breaths, you can move your block slightly further forward. Maybe even walk your hands a little further forward while keeping the hips where they are. And stay in the quiet of the start of the class. Noticing how your body is feeling. Then you can start to walk the hands back towards the legs, back towards your body. Bring the fingertips again beside your hips. Change the cross of the legs. Now, if this height was fine for you, you felt great there, keep the height there. But if you'd like to try the next one down, you can try the next one down. Press the fingertips into the floor, roll the shoulders back, roll the elbows back. Bring the hands forward, hand palms facing each other. Raise the arms to Urdhva Hastasana arms. Reach up. And then again, come forward and down. Keeping the sitting bones on the floor. And then bring the hands to the floor. Again, you can walk them forward here. And release your head down to the block. Just see what height works for you. If you've tried the lower height, but you actually want to change to the higher height, you just move the block around to whatever suits your body. And come back to the rhythm of your breath here, paying attention just to the inhale and the exhale. Release the belly. Here, maybe you can move your head slightly further forward. Maybe you can walk the hands slightly further forward after you've been in the pose for a while. Press your body backwards. Use the hands to press into the floor. Keep the elbows lifted. Walk the hands back towards your legs. Move the block out of the way, again to the side of the mat. From here you can roll over to hands and knees. Come to a tabletop position. And on your inhale, drop the belly, look forward, look up even. And then as you exhale, round the back, tuck the tailbone, drop the head. Inhale, arch your spine, look forward. Exhale, round the back. Inhale, arch. And exhale, rounding the spine. Bring the chin towards the chest. Last time, inhale, arch. And exhale, round. From the rounded spine, you can bring the toes together behind you and then press yourself back towards a child's pose. Reach the arms forward. Release your forehead down. Now, this is ideal. If your forehead doesn't reach the floor, take one of your blocks, place the block under the forehead, and let the forehead rest on the block. Like in the cross-legged forward fold position of earlier, keep the hands pressing in the floor, keep the arms active, elbows lifted, push yourself back. There's two actions happening. You're pushing your hips back from the press of the hands on the floor, but you're also reaching your trunk forward. And that dual action is what's creating length in the back. From the child's pose, you can lift yourself to hands and knees and just remove the block. Again, place it to the side. Spread the fingers on the floor. Have the full palm of the hand pressing in the floor. Tuck the toes behind you and lift yourself to downward facing dog. Come to Adho Mukha Svanasana. You can start to straighten one leg, keeping the opposite knee bent. And then swap. Straighten the other leg and bend the other knee. Just move slowly through this action a few times. You can combine the breath with the action On the inhale, bend one knee and extend the other leg. And then as you exhale, swap sides. That can help you keep a nice rhythm. And then straighten both legs. As you inhale, bend the knees and look forward towards the hands. And then as you exhale, you can step or hop the feet forward. Get the blocks. We'll start on the high height as well here. Bring the hands on the blocks underneath your shoulders. Straighten the legs by rooting down through the feet. And look forward. Lengthen the trunk forward. In Ardha Uttanasana. From here you can bend the knees, place the hands on the floor again, just leave the blocks where they are, we'll come back to them. Step both feet back to Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. Press the hands on the floor to lift yourself up and back. Bend the knees on an inhale, look forward. And as you exhale, step or hop the feet forward again. Feet hips width distance apart. Bring the hands to the blocks. Press down into the blocks and lengthen the trunk forward. You can lift the toes off the floor here to really activate the legs. And then spread the toes and let the toes come back down onto the floor. On another inhale, bend the knees, place the feet on the floor. As you exhale, step the feet back, come to downward facing dog. On your next exhale, release the knees to the floor, bring the toes together behind you, press yourself back to child's pose. Again, you can let the forehead rest on a block here, if that's comfortable for you. If you feel that's difficult for your neck, it actually causes more problems, then please don't do it with a block. You can lift yourself up to hands and knees. If you were using a block under the forehead, place it back to where it was. Press the hands into the floor. Lift yourself to downward facing dog. The feet should be hips width distance apart and the arms shoulder width distance apart. Walk the feet forward. Still at hips width distance. Bring the hands onto the blocks. Look forward. And then you can lower the blocks to the next height. Walk the blocks back towards the feet as you fold forward and down into full Uttanasana. Let the head release. Really press into the blocks with the hands to help you release further down. You can move the blocks forward again, under the shoulders. On the higher height, press the hands into the block. Extend the chest forward in Ardha Uttanasana. Lower the blocks down, and then release your trunk. Release the head, release the neck. Keep rooting down through the feet. Bring the blocks forward under the shoulders. Press the hands into the blocks. Look forward. And from here, bring the feet together. Really press the hands down, and on your next inhale, lift the right leg up and back behind you. Reach the right heel away from you. So your trunk is moving forward, the leg is moving back. Bring the right foot down. Readjust, find your balance. On an inhale, lift the left leg up and back. Still moving the trunk forward. And keep breathing here, don't hold your breath. On an exhale, bring the leg down. You can bend the knees, bring the hands to the floor, step both feet back to downward facing dog. Release the heels down and back. Release the head. Bend the knees, you can look forward. Step or jump the feet forward. And then you can bring the hands to the hips. Look forward and lift the chest up, lift the trunk up. And come to Tadasana, to mountain pose. You can take one of the blocks. If you have a wooden block and it's really heavy, maybe don't do this because it can fall down and then you'll injure yourself. But if you have a foam block or a cork block, you can bring the block between the thighs and press the thighs against the block. It's like you're trying to move the block backwards. Press the feet into the floor. Stretch the arms down beside you. Bring the hands forward, hand palms facing each other. Interlace the fingers. Keep the feet rooting down. Stretch the hand palms away from you. On an inhale, lift the arms forward and up. Reaching up. Keep the legs exactly the same. And it's just like you're growing out of your waist up. On your next exhale, bring the arms down. Change the interlace of the fingers. Stretch the arms away from you, or stretch the palms of the hands away from you. Inhale, lift up. And feel the extra space as you breathe. On your next exhale, bring the arms down. Remove the block from between the legs. And then place the blocks on the back of your mat onto the highest height again. Stand in Tadasana facing the long edge of your mat. And then bring the hands to your hips. Take a big step. Feet nice and wide. And you can turn your right leg all the way out and then turn the left heel out. And we go to Trikonasana, but with the support of the blocks. Stretch the arms out at shoulder height. Keep the feet active, rooting into the ground. And then reach out to the right side. And then bring your hand down onto the block. Just place the block behind your leg, under your shoulder. Press the hand into the block and lift the left arm up. And it's really the press of the block, or the press of the hand into the block, that helps you turn your chest and turn the whole trunk towards the ceiling. Root the feet down into the floor, have the legs active, and then without bending the legs, on your next inhale, lift your trunk up. Bring the hands down, bring the hands onto the hips, turn the feet forward, and then turn the feet all the way to the other side. So left leg all the way out, right heel out. Have the hands on the hips, just roll the shoulders back. Raise the arms to shoulder height, reach over the left side. Bring the left hand down to the block. Press down, lift the right arm. And really use that left hand pressing in the block to help you turn your chest. Breathe here. Keep the legs active. Keep the attention in the feet. Press down through the feet. Keep the legs straight as you inhale and lift the trunk up. Release the hands down. Turn your feet forward. Walk the feet together. And then bring the blocks to the front of the mat again. Step your right foot more or less between the blocks and step your left foot back. Have the left foot out and maybe a 45-degree angle, and then have the blocks, so maybe the blocks are more in line with your ankle. It kind of depends on the proportions of your body. The blocks can be under the shoulders, and you press both feet into the floor in Parshvattanasana. Like in Ardha Uttanasana earlier, you are lengthening the trunk forward and keep the feet pressing. It's like you're moving your right hip back. From here you can change legs, so you can bend the right knee, step the left foot forward, if that works for you, and then step the right foot back. The right foot is out at a 45-degree angle, and you press the feet into the floor, extend the legs, lengthen the trunk forward, and move through the press of the foot, move the left hip back. Keep breathing. Everything is working really hard in this pose, so try not to hold your breath. Keep letting the breath move through the body, in and out through the nose. Release the right knee to the floor. You can move the blocks to the front of the mat. Place the hands onto the mat. And come back to Adho Mukha Svanasana. Tuck the toes behind you, lift your hips up and back. Lengthen the arms and the legs evenly, equally. On an inhale, bend the knees, look forward to your hands. As you exhale, you can step or hop the feet forward. Bring the blocks back towards you. And again, step the left leg back, step the right foot forward to that Parshvattanasana position. And we go to Parivrita Trikonasana, revolved triangle. If you're on your period, please stay in this Parshvattanasana position because the revolved triangle is really a lot for the abdomen. If you're not on your period, then we do Parivrita Trikonasana. So bring your block to the inside of your right foot. Press your left hand into the block. Bring your right hand to your hip. Extend the trunk forward. And then by the press of the left hand, see if you can turn your trunk towards the leg. Maybe you can raise your right arm. Bring the right hand down. You can swap sides, however you like to move in and out of the pose. I like to come down onto my knees sometimes. Let's bring the left foot forward and then stretch the right leg back. First, Asana, just finding your position here, lengthening the legs, extending the trunk forward. If you're on your period, please just stay here. If not, bring the block to the inside of the left foot, press the right hand into the block, bring the left hand to your hip, extending the chest forward, and by the press of the hand, see if you can turn your whole trunk towards your left leg. And then maybe you can lift the arm up, the left arm up, and then bring the left hand down. Move the blocks to the side, and come one more time to downward facing dog. Adho Mukha Svanasana. Extending both sides of the body evenly here. Just neutralizing after the twist. And you can release the knees to the floor. Press yourself back to child's pose, reaching the arms forward. Lift yourself to hands and knees. And then come up to standing. Bring the blocks to the front of the long side of the mat. Stand in your Tadasana position. Bring the hands to the hips again. Roll the shoulders back. Bring the elbows towards each other and then take a wide step. I find it easiest to have my heels against the back of the mat so I know my legs are lined up equally. Roll the shoulders back, press the feet into the floor, and with active legs, stretch your chest forward, and then bring the hands down to the blocks. You can move the blocks so that they're really under your shoulders. Like in a lot of the other poses we've done, blocks are under shoulders. Extend the trunk forward. How it is now for me with the blocks at this height is a bit too high, so I'm going to move them down because I want the back to be long and straight. Keep the hands pressing into the blocks. Extending the trunk forward. And then you can walk the hands with the blocks back at whatever height you need. Release the head, release the neck, and really press the hands into the block to help you release down. And we're going to stay in the pose for just a short while, so you can stack the blocks however high you need. This will be a bit of an experimentation. And let the crown of your head rest on the block so you can bring the hands to the floor. If the hands don't reach the floor, just bring the hands to the outsides of the legs. This way it should be a little easier to hold the pose for longer because your head is supported. Keep pressing the hands if they're on the floor, elbows pointing back. Just notice the sensations in the body. Notice your state of mind when the head is supported like this. Whether you are really enjoying the pose or you really want it to be over soon. Just notice what that feels like. You can walk the hands forward, lift the chest. Again, here, bring the blocks under the shoulders. Use the support. Lengthen forward. Start walking the legs in towards each other. Bring one of the blocks underneath you so you can come to sit on the block. You're in a squat position, but with the block below you, so you're not at all having to work as hard. But feel that the back is lengthening. Press the hands into each other. You can bring the hands to the floor and lift yourself off the block. Come all the way down to the floor. Bring the soles of the feet together. And here you can bring the block between the feet. Hold onto the ankles and lift yourself up. Release the knees down. You can do as much or as little here. If this is too much for you, this Baddha Konasana with the block between the legs, remove the block and just bring the two soles of the feet together. If you want to try like really extreme or just a little more challenging, bring the block to its widest. For me, when I do that, I need to bring the hands beside my hips to really make sure that I'm not just collapsing into my back. Inhale, exhale. Release the knees down. Remove the block. If you have a block, help the legs back together. Stretch the legs out in front of you. And then we're going to do Virasana, and this is also, you have to see a little bit with your own body, especially your own knees, what is possible and what isn't. So bring the knees together and bring the legs out to the side, and you're going to sit down in between your feet. However, for a lot of people, this is really challenging for the knees. And if it's any problems at all in the knees, please stop immediately. What you can do to help yourself in this pose is to put some blocks underneath. So you're sitting in Virasana, but on whatever height you need. And the way you can tell what height you need is if you have pain at all, any kind of pain in the knees, then you need to be up higher. So please listen to your own body, look after your own body. If your knees are giving you any trouble at all, you can skip this pose or try it higher up, but really don't mess around with the knees, basically. If you can't do this pose, if this is too painful for your knees, whatever's going on, just sit on the floor cross-legged. Bring the arms forward again, interlace the fingers, stretch the hand palms away from you. On an inhale, lift the arms forward and up. And really pay attention to your trunk, that you're not going forward like this with the lower ribs, but bring the lower ribs in. You want to avoid being a banana. Bring the arms forward and down. Change the interlace of the fingers. Stretch the hand palms away. Inhale, lift the arms up. Keep rooting down into the blocks with your sitting bones to avoid that banana shape. And then bring the arms forward and down. Bring the hands to the floor in front of you. And then stretch your right leg fully back. Really extend the leg, open the knee. After Virasana, that's really important. Then do the left leg. Stretch it fully back. Open the back of the knee. Move your blocks out of the way if you were sitting on blocks. Do one more downward facing dog, just to really make sure those legs are lengthened and long and stretched out after the Virasana. Release your knees down to the floor. Come and sit on the floor again. Stretch the legs out in front of you. And we're going to do Paschimottanasana, but with a support for the head. So bring your feet probably a bit wider than your hips, to be honest, for this. Build yourself a tower to lay your head on. You're going to have to, again, experiment with the height, whatever is. I kind of know what height I'm going for, but that comes from practice. And the height will change as you develop in the pose, or if you have an injury and you have to do the pose differently. The height is always kind of variable, but that's what's so great about the blocks. They're very versatile. Press the feet into the floor, extend the legs, lift the arms forward and up. Again, Urdhva Hastasana. Arms, reach the arms forward. If you can, hold on to the feet, hold on to the feet. But if you're not reaching the feet, just hold on to the legs. You can even hold on to the sides of the mat. Lift the chest. And then you can bend the elbows to the side and release your head down on your height, on your blocks. Really use the breath in this pose. You inhale to lengthen forward. Maybe you have to move the blocks forward. And exhale, release. You might find here, like with the pose we did at the beginning, that after a little while, you can move the blocks forward. You do have a bit more space. But maybe not. That's also fine. Lift your chest up, look forward. Release the feet, release the legs, whatever you've been holding onto. And come and lie on your back. Have the feet on the floor, have the knees bent. We're going to do block Setu Bandha. Here again, there's different options for the height, so you'll have to experiment for yourself. Press the feet into the floor to lift your hips up into the regular Setu Bandha position. Bring the block under the sacrum. I'm bringing it at the highest height, but you can see which height works for you. Interlace the arms around the block, if your arms are long enough to do that. Otherwise, just press the hands into the floor. You can feel how you have the shape of the bridge. You really have that bend at the back. The chest is moving towards the chin, but it's a little easier to be in the position when you have the support of the block, when it is lifting you. Maybe now you can pay more attention to the way that you're pressing your arms down. Or your breath, see if you can breathe into the side ribs. If your fingers are interlaced, do the opposite. Change the interlace so that the opposite finger is on top, and then press the arms down again. Lift the chest. Engage the feet, press the feet into the floor, lift your hips up, lift yourself off the block, then release down again. We're going to do it 2 more times. Press the feet, lift yourself off the block, release down, move slowly, move deliberately. Keep breathing. On your next inhale, press down, lift your hips off the block. And now you can move the block away, release your back, come down 1 vertebra at a time. You can help the flesh of your buttocks away, just letting the lower back land on the floor. Stretch the arms out beside you. At shoulder height, pull the knees in towards your chest, just make sure there's no blocks lying around you, and then let the knees come over to the right side. Let them land on the floor. And you can even bring the right hand onto the knees and roll the left shoulder towards the floor. And breathe in the twist, letting your lower back release. And lift the knees to the center. Readjust your hips if they've moved to one side or the other, and then let the knees roll all the way over to the left side. Again, feel free to bring the hand onto the leg. Roll the right shoulder down to the floor. Lift the knees to the center again. Bring the feet to the floor. Stretch your legs out in front of you. For Shavasana, let the feet flop to the side. Let the arms fall down by your sides with the hand palms facing the ceiling. If you're comfortable to close your eyes, just let the eyes gently close. Roll your shoulders under and down, move them down the back. And for the next few moments, just follow the rhythm of your own breath. Gently bring some movement back in your body. You can move your fingers, you can move your toes. Take a few much deeper breaths, really filling up the lungs. Bring your hands to your abdomen. Bend the knees one by one. Place the feet on the floor. You can roll over to your side. Let your head rest on your arm. Open the eyes if the eyes are not open already. Press the hand into the floor to help yourself up to a seated position. Come to cross-legged, and then together we'll take one inhale and exhale to close. As you inhale, stretch the arms away from you. Inhale, reach them up. Exhale, bring the palms together. Bring the hands down in front of the chest. Thank you for your practice.